Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today it's time to get back to the AMA and find out what all the answers are. Now, just so you know, there were way too many questions to actually answer every single one of them. But check the first AMA, maybe it was answered in there. Anyways, let's get down to business. William Durand wants to know, do you think this feminist wave is ever going to stop? And also, why do you think feminism speaks so well to non-informed people, aka the masses, left-wing masses indeed? Well, I think that's because they've adopted a Marxist ideology. Converting women from a group into a class enables them to instantly adopt a whole set of ideologies that they know will resonate with the masses. Positive Improvement wants to know, can you imagine any situation in which you would support feminism and call yourself a feminist? What would have to change about feminism or the world itself before that could happen? Well, the world would have to go back to the way it was 100 years ago for that to make any sense. Philippe Oketik wants to know, what do you think about monogamy? I don't think it works for everyone, and I don't think we should force people to live a specific way, but if it works for you, great. The L Kid wants to know, what's your favorite food? I would have to say barbecue. Opexob asks, on your channel, you ridicule and satirize stupidity, but what will you do if all stupidity is gone? Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. That is never gonna happen. Are you doing these videos partly for educational reasons or purely to see how deep the rabbit hole goes? Both, but don't forget that it's a lot of fun too. Justin Guarino asks, what kind of cars do you like the most? Do you work on them yourself? I don't really have the time to work on them myself, but I like cars with big engines. I've had a whole bunch of Corvettes, and I also like big trucks and SUVs, like big burly Broncos or Jeeps and stuff like that. Hendrik Ratsep wants to know my opinion on The Amazing Atheist and Thunderfoot. Well, I don't really know them personally, but I enjoy their videos. Neo Agogi wants to know, how many feminists does it take to screw in a light bulb? I will wait for the punchline. Well, the most obvious punchline is, of course, that they won't change the light bulb. They will just sit around in the darkness feeling oppressed by it. Other popular choices include that they will just hold up the light bulb to the socket and wait for the world to revolve around them. And last but not least, who are you kidding? Feminists can't change anything, let alone a light bulb. Will Yarwood has a wall of text that basically boils down to, how do I convince my parents that feminism is wrong? And I don't know if you can. It doesn't really matter if you're 50 years old and your mother is 80 or whatnot, she's still gonna look at you as her little kid. The good news is you'll soon get to leave the house and create your own life and choose who you want to associate with. Beelzebub Pig Venus. That cracked me up. Anyway, he wants to know if I would ever go on a Drunken Peasants podcast if asked. Sure, why not? Mikey Mouse asks, what do you think about direct democracy? I think that would be terrible. That would be like the Tumblr or Twitter mob being able to instigate laws for whatever whipped up their frenzy that day. Anthony Santora asks, what is your opinion of cops? At least that's what I think he means. I would say that is a very difficult and thankless job. Axolot Mafia wants to know, from your opinion, do you see more intelligent, caring people waking up within the next 5 to 10 years to the fact that feminism is by design meant to segregate and rip society apart for the worse, or do you forebode tumultuous consequences? Well, I think we have seen a little bit of a backlash against feminism, haven't we? I mean, before feminism was unopposed, but now we have some people actually fighting back, so yeah, maybe people are actually waking up. Mr. Coonpuff wants to know, how much do you love me as a raccoon? Oh, I love you as a raccoon. The Forbidden Thinker wants to know, does it drive you mad when you see good YouTubers make stupid videos like Steve Shives, for example? Yeah, it does kind of, because he used to actually make good videos once upon a time before he got lost in La La Land, so yeah, it's a shame. Silver the Beast wants to know, why the hell do we listen to feminists? Well, that's obvious, we need a good laugh every once in a while. Grizzly Barrett 4 wants to know, are you single? No, I'm not, and before you ask, yes, she knows about this channel and she agrees. Wolf Dragonus asks, what inspired you to make these kind of videos against human stupidity? Hey, you were on the last AMA, you know that it was Sargon of Akkad. What's the biggest challenge when it comes to dealing with them? Well, it's finding the time, really. What's the worst of the stupidity you came across so far in your channel? Well, it's the last one. It's always the last one. Marinson wants to know, do you think it's worth engaging flat earthers, or are they just too retarded? If you mean for me to make a response video, sure. I just haven't found a video to respond to that wasn't boring as fuck. Why do you think America, which is viewed as the leader of the Western world, has such poor science literacy? Well, actually, I think it's because of what you just said, being viewed as the leader. When we had the Soviets to worry about and we weren't the clear leaders, that was a different story. The government had real pressure on it to make sure that scientists were being educated so we can compete with the Russians and close the missile gap. Now there's a real gap for you. Wesley Crusher wants to know, what is your favorite Star Trek series? Well, sorry Wesley, it's not yours. I like DS9. Jester Curse wants to know, when did Tumblr reach the point where it seeped out into the real world, and so much so that college-aged humans in the US actually believe the SJW worldview? Or how did this offense protest censorship paradigm take hold so completely? I honestly don't know that. That is mind-boggling, isn't it? Daniel W. wants to know, is it wrong to whack it to lazy green videos? Well, the word problematic comes to mind. James Monroe asks, what's your opinion on weed? Well, it's not for me, but I don't think it's right to tell other people what to do with their own bodies, so if you like it, go for it. Blue Macaroni 120 wants to know, have you ever seen any hate towards you that don't come from the typical hateful troll, but come from radical butthurt feminists? Also, how much do you receive? Well, I don't really know how to quantify it, but I receive my fair share of hate. Hashtag radical femtears maybe? NWO Spy T wants to know, when Tumblr snowflakes take over and you are taken to the Ministry of Love for torture, what kind of otherkin will you admit to being? Anakin. Fräulein Eisenherz would like to know, would you kind Sir Undoomed consider marrying me? It would be nice, thank you. Sure, but only if you know dunking the cosmic donut. Jessica Valentini would like to know, how does it feel to hate half of humanity? I don't know, you tell me. Mr. Vivid Shadows asks, what do you think the secret to growing as a YouTube channel is? I don't know, maybe consistency, making sure you're not all over the place with all kinds of different videos. Also, are you a fan of House MD? Yes, I am. Darren Conrad asks, where can we get the soundtrack to this video? Gotta have it for my playlist. Well, my songs are available through my Patreon. Scott Wilson wants to know, where do you draw the line when responding to stupidity? Well, it has to be funny. Has anyone you've made a video about ever responded to you? Well, if you mean a video response to my video response, then no. Broken Steel asks, what is the purpose of life? And the answer is 42. Ovapo Leon asks, hey dude, are we going to see some live streams of your own or with other YouTubers in the future? I'm really looking forward to seeing some live streaming stuff from you. Well, since you posted that question, you may have noticed that I had Sargon of Akkad over here for a live stream, and I hope to continue to do live streams as I get to know more interesting people on the internet. Lebo Production asks, what music do you like? Well, I like dubstep, obviously. I also like metal and electronica and epic film scores. And why the dubstep EDM music for your videos? Yeah, because I like that kind of music. You don't sound like the type of person who enjoys this style of music. Okay, but I do like that kind of music. Dr. Baum wants to know, what you basically do in your videos is talking about what people do and what you think about it. Now, your opinion is often expressed by you in a special way, which is fine and nice to watch, and I enjoy your videos. But would you act or speak the same way as you do on YouTube with one of these guys in front of you, or do you see yourself more as an actor? Yeah, I thought about that when I started the channel, if I was going to have some weird voice or something like that, but, you know, I would never be able to keep that up, so this is just me. And I've had a lot of conversations/confrontations with feminists in real life, and besides not pausing the conversation to scream fucking moron or saying thanks for watching, see you next time when I leave the room, this is just the way I talk. Philip Sindrick would like to know, if your channel continues to grow, will you do this for a living? Well, if we're looking far into the future, I think the optimal thing would be to do it part-time so you can keep in touch with real life and not just sit around doing YouTube videos all day long. But for now, I'm just happy to have a hobby that pays for itself. Silister wants to know, do you have a wife and/or children? Nope, just a girlfriend. What do your friends say to your videos? They think they're funny. Lord Bacter asks, What is your stance on collectivism versus individualism? I really hate collectivism. We're not ants. It may work for insects, but human beings can't just work for the greater glory of the state, or whatever institution it's referring to. Human beings have hopes and dreams and aspirations, and it's not enough to just see that the state is doing better. We need to actually self-improve and improve our own lives. C. Wilson 2012 asks, being a black man in America, I feel as though there is a lot of race baiters who take away from people who actually suffer from racism. What is your take on the matter? Yeah, that's a good point. It must really suck to be a victim of racism today. I mean, all the space is being taken up by assholes worth $20 million running around campus saying how oppressed they are. Where does that leave people who didn't even get a chance to go to college? So I think the current situation is highly destructive and counterproductive as far as real racism is concerned. Koenig's Tiger 14 has a shitload of questions, so I'll just answer the first one. Are you left-wing or right-wing? To tell you the truth, the left-right system doesn't make much sense to me anymore. I used to be a lot more right-wing before the Republicans went all jump for Jesus on us. Nowadays it's just fucking morons on both sides. Michael Perry wants to know, what are your opinions on the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal? Do the parts about companies being able to sue governments if they pass laws that will make them lose profit scare you like they scare me? Well, I actually did have a conversation about that with Sargon in the live stream, so you might want to watch that. And he has actually put up the entire text as an audiobook, and that is scary in itself because it's over 24 hours long. I mean, to be honest, no layman is ever going to have a realistic chance of going through it and understanding it. I mean, I doubt that the people who wrote it understand it. Fucking hell, it's so long. It's like they're trying to bury something in a mountain of text, and I'm sorry, I don't have the time or patience to go through it. Maybe that's what they're hoping for, and yeah, that's scary. Sunbuns wants to know, did you study in broadcasting or journalism? I studied film. Are these skills self-taught or from school? Well, 50-50 maybe, but you really need to just get out there and work with it for you to actually learn how to solve problems. Did you study politics or debate or something? Not more than anyone else. Are you a musician? Yeah, but not a famous one. It's just a hobby. Wanko Sane asks, I'd like to hear your opinion on the Missouri College fracas. Don't know what to say about that hasn't already been said 100 times. It's retarded, it's counterproductive, and it needs to stop. Just a decade ago, we were actually getting along, but now people are going out of their way to actually fabricate racial tensions. The first thing that I think about when I meet a black person is not that this is a black person. If you think like that, you're forever going to be stuck in racism. And I'm sorry these social justice morons don't see that. The Serpent 1990 asks, do you ever attempt to get in contact with the people in your videos? You know, just to make sure they are aware that they have reached a level of stupidity worthy of attention. No, I don't make these videos for them, I make them for you guys. Vampire Funk wants to know, what are your top 3 movies? Off the top of my head, Aliens, Terminator 2, and The Empire Strikes Back. The Real God asks, is my son gay? Yes, he is. Jess McCoy wants to know, did you already cover penis size and girth in your first Ask video? No, I don't believe we did. So picture the space shuttle, right? You know that big thing that they strapped the space shuttle onto in the middle? Yeah, picture that. The Toronto Tickler wants to know, does my name make me look like a serial killer or a rapist or both? What do you think, sweetheart? Well, I think it makes you look very kinky. Son of Liberty 78 wants to know, it seems like the YouTube personalities who create the most entertaining videos critical of the tyranny now calling itself feminism are all atheists, for example yourself and Thunderfoot. Why is that? You might reply with something dismissive like because logic, but it's not really that simple. I was an atheist as a teenager. However, I outgrew that particular arrogance through my experiences in life. Even Thomas Jefferson was a deist. Was he a fucking moron? Well, it seems like if you're able to see through the bullshit of religion, you're more likely to see through the bullshit of feminism. Don't know what else to tell you. Vlogging Teacher would like to know, feminism and post-structuralism combine to produce many forms of feminism, including the brand of it promoted by Judith Butler. This eventually produced what we understand as queer theory. What videos will you produce to address these issues which are from academia? I believe it will be more entertaining since scholastic works are produced about it. I don't know, tweet me a link of someone saying something stupid about it and I'll see what I can do. Toasty Kuma wants to know, do you voice your own videos? Your voice for these videos sounds 10 to 20 years older than me, but your taste in awesome music is close to my generation. Well, I don't know how old you are, but this is my voice, and I still like dubstep. Iggy Izzies would like to know, what do you think about the Red Pill documentary? Well, I haven't actually seen the film, so I can't give you a 1 to 5 rating, but from what I know, it seems like a very impressive thing for a feminist to be able to take in the opposing argument and actually change her opinion about things. I'm looking forward to watching it. Oliver Young asks, what is your opinion on governments? Do you think that those in government have the moral right to kill, kidnap, steal, and generally control through coercion? Do you think the idea of government is necessary for the functioning of society? Well, I don't like governments at all. But yeah, they are kind of necessary because without them we'd have anarchy and we'd be invaded by everyone who wanted our resources. Natalie Gray wants to know, what is your stance on free will? Well, first of all, are you talking religion here? Because people who believe in God apparently have this inherent relationship with that word, and that just doesn't interest me. So instead, let's ask ourselves, what does it mean biologically? How much of what you do is actually your biology just commanding you to do things as opposed to you actually choosing? If you ask a neurologist, he will probably tell you that free will is an illusion put on by your subconscious mind. You can choose to postpone certain things. You can choose not to go to the bathroom, you can choose not to drink, you can choose to try to hold your breath, but sooner or later the subconscious mind is going to get what it wants. Now, previously scientists thought that the unconscious was a small part of your mind, but nowadays they actually believe that it is the conscious mind that is the small part of the mind. I've heard scientists say that we're only truly conscious about 10% of our waking time. I wonder what that means for free will. Food for thought. Orange Fruit Bowl would like to know, do you ever show your face in your videos? If no, why not? Well, I'd like to keep my day job. AV57 wants to know, what is your stance on animal rights? Namely, should sentient beings have the negative right to be free from human exploitation when reasonably possible? Well, yes and no. We have a responsibility as top predator to cull the herd. And we can see this, for instance, in Yosemite National Park. When they reintroduced the wolves, the health of all animal populations went up. However, we also have a huge responsibility to not be unnecessarily cruel. Okay, Melville Talante has a wall of text. Basically, he wants to know if it's okay to use an avatar that looks like mine. Well, it's not really for me to decide. Just make sure that it's not too similar, because then people will just think you're copying. He also wants to know what I think about Stargate, SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe. Well, I think that order was pretty good. SG-1 was the original and the best one, Atlantis was still a lot of fun, and Universe, not so much. As far as Dune goes, nah. 1979 Tomingo wants to know, do you operate your YouTube channel all by yourself, or do you have a team in the background? Nope, it's just me, buddy. Lazy Videos Game asks, could you speak that out loud in your sexy voice? In the grimdark future of the 3rd millennium, there is only feminism. Mean Mr. Mustard asks, do you think I should give it a shot and try writing a serious, snappy commentary song about all these SJW issues? Well, you know what the saying is, you only regret what you didn't do, so go for it. Minecraft Bull wants to know, what are your opinions on same-sex relationships? If that's what makes you happy, go for it. It's as simple as that. Flapjab Van Helsing wants to know, how come you're an atheist? Well, you actually have to believe, otherwise you're just lying, and since I don't believe, I'm an atheist. Kurumi Tukisaki wants to know, do you think that the educational system is starting to get outdated and might need some reforms? Or is the problem just the current generation of students that is producing a higher percentage of dimwits? Well, they are doing that, but the question is, why do we have so many dimwits? And I think the answer is that schools nowadays view their students as consumers. And as you know, the consumer is always right, and that is no way to run a school. The Welsh Yoshi wants to know, do you think that people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn will ever shut up and their scams and lies brought to light? Well, I think their lies and scams have been brought to light and nobody seems to care. And they certainly won't shut up as long as they're making money, so on it goes. Visioning Hale wants to know, did God rape Mary? Oh, did he ever? Santa Cup asks, you said you work in the film industry. Have you always wanted to work in that field? If not, what did you want to be as a child? Well, I wanted to be a rock star, like all children, and also a programmer, so a programmer rock star. That Guy T wants to know, why do so many of your thumbnails feature feminists with epic blowjob faces? Well, first of all, obviously they suck, and secondly, you gotta have some fun when you're dealing with all this stupidity. And thirdly, it's not my job to make them look good. The Lord of Dragons wants to know, what's worse, religious people or social justice asshats? Well, in the Western world, definitely social justice asshats. Feminism is for nobody wants to know, what do you love most about me? Well, what's not to love? But seriously, I really do love your Monty Python impressions. John Doe wants to know, do you really think women should have the right to vote or not? Yes, I do think women should be able to vote. Haven't you seen my video about that asshat who don't want women to vote? Wacky Alien 32 wants to know, if aliens come to Earth, what would be their reaction to humanity in your opinion? Probably something like when we step in an ant hive, like get it off, and then we kill them all. Charming Man 93 says, hey moron, fucking moron, here's my questions. Well, actually, I think we've been over the first 3, so let's just go to the last one. What is your favorite flavor of jam? That would be boysenberries. Trev Gauntlet wants to know, opinions on Zoe Quinn having a movie based on her. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing how they're gonna make mean tweets seem like the movie's bad guy. Big C is God wants to know, what's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? What is that, an African or European swallow? D. Emerson wants to know, why do we feed Trolldyke swamp donkeys? We know they're famors anyway. Trolldyke swamp donkeys. A Mountain Lion 4 wants to know, has any of your opinions that you've expressed in one of your past videos changed? No, not as far as I know. But I'm sure it could happen. I'm not above admitting when I'm wrong. Conan Skyfire asks, what do you think are the steps for humanity to evolve? Well, I think we've pretty much done away with biological evolution, so the only thing that remains is technological evolution. Jake Wolf 69 wants to know, what do you think of all these atheist channels arguing and or insulting each other? Well, you know, drama, don't really care. Shonsky 001 wants to know, if you were to take one word out of the dictionary and also be able to add one word to the dictionary, what would these be? For me, it's problematic out, going in would be cuntastic. Well, I do like your word cuntastic, but as far as banning words, no, I think that's something that feminists would do. It's not for me. Finn Gilbert says, you went from 0 to hero with your channel. You had immediate success for a YouTube channel as young as yours. Did you expect this? No, not at all. I mean, I knew I could do it technically. I could do the editing and the voice mixing and all that, but I didn't know if people were going to find it funny and if they were actually going to enjoy it. So I'm very thankful to you guys. Patrick Leach wants to know, will you be doing other videos criticizing other religions besides Christianity? Well, I have done at least 1 or 2, but there'll be more. Jorge Ackerman wants to know, who would you trust more between a Muslim, a feminist, a Westboro Baptist member, and a complete stranger you met on the street dancing around in a Mickey Mouse outfit saying aliens abducted him when he was a child? Well, that guy in a Mickey Mouse suit seems like a well-adjusted member of society, doesn't he? I'd go with him. Last of My Generation wants to know, will you ever cover the ancient astronaut theory? I'm wondering why YouTube skeptics haven't jumped on the gobbledygook goldmine that is ancient astronaut theory. I think the reason why a lot of people haven't touched that is because it is published through networks and not through YouTube. But if I could find a guy that was actually publishing stuff on it on YouTube, I would certainly do a video on that. That's cool. Or, you know, funny. The Sandre guy wants to know, are you the real Messiah? Yes, my son. I am your father. Alright kids, that just about wraps it up for tonight. I'm sorry if your question wasn't included, but there were just way too many questions this time. Anyway, thanks for participating, thanks for watching, and see you next time.